Okay, welcome to everybody who is watching this video. We are here with Oskar Van Deventer. Van Deventer.
Van Deventer, yes. It's a town in the Netherlands, so yeah.
So Oskar is one of the most important designer puzzle in the world, and cube designer in the world. And
Thank you.
I don't say that. All the people say that, Oskar. So this is the truth. So Oskar, the first question is very simple. How did you start playing with the puzzle or with the cubes?
My hobby started in 1978. I was then 12 years old, and I was already interested in puzzles. And the trigger was the book Puzzles of the World. It's written by two Dutch authors, and it was first published in Dutch. Later, it became a very famous book, and it was published worldwide. But I started making many puzzles from that book, and very soon after, I decided, well, let's design some puzzles myself because, well, I had made already many from the book.
So that book was your first guide?
Yes.
So and what was your first design?
I'm not really sure, but most likely, well, my first published design was the matchboxes puzzle. You know, when you have a matchbox, you have a drawer and a sleeve around it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have 5 matchboxes, then you glue the drawer of one matchbox to the sleeve of the other, and then you have 5 of such combinations, and the object is to close all drawers. And that was published in 1983 in a Dutch magazine, and that was my first published puzzle.
And what do you prefer, to create metal wood puzzle or cubes?
That depends. If you look at my portfolio over the years, my first puzzles and designs, they were made of wood, wooden burr puzzles where you have sticks that go through each other. And the reason is simple. I had wood in the neighborhood, I could buy it, I could cut it and make the puzzles, so I made the designs. And I have also designed some metal wire puzzle because, well, I had metal in the environment and I know how to solder. And later I started using plastic cutting and gluing. And around 2003, George Miller introduced me to 3D printing. And since then, I have done a lot of puzzles with 3D printing. But I've also done puzzles with laser cutting. A friend of mine, Peter Knoppers, he has a laser cutter. So when you look at my portfolio, then over the years, you see style changes, and those style changes are because I have newer materials and technologies at my disposal.
Good. So the plastic that you use now, I think that could be nylon, no?
Yes, the plastic that I'm using is 3D printed nylon. I often use the technology from Shapeways, and they have this nylon powder, and they have this machine. They put down a layer of nylon powder, and then they have a laser that fuse the powder together. They melt it together, and the result is very beautiful, especially if you have it polished. Then it comes perfect out of the machine.
Good. Also, I saw in your YouTube channel that you have created an electronic and mechanical puzzle with Arduino called a slider mazer, I think.
Yes, the slider maze.
Is the only one that you have created?
Well, actually, I have also created the 4-bit maze. So slider maze has 1 slider, and 4-bit maze has 4 sliders. And for 4-bit maze, you move some sliders up, and then the Arduino pushes some other sliders down, and the whole thing is stateless. So all the state that you see is just 4-bit, and you're moving through that maze. So that one has 16 states, and for the slider maze, it has only 10 states. But surprisingly, even with 10 states, you can make mazes that are difficult to solve.
And the good of this puzzle is that you can modify wherever you want, no?
Yes, so I pre-programmed about 10 challenges each. So the first challenge is very simple. For the 4-bit maze, the goal is always move the 4 sliders from down to up, and you just move all 4 up, and you have solved solution number 0. That was easy. But now you do solution or challenge number 1, and you push a slider up, and then you push the second up, and the first one goes down. So it's already harder. And challenge number 9 is really extremely hard. I don't think anybody will ever solve it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, and what is the hardest puzzle that you created?
Hardest in terms of solving, it's very hard to say because some of my puzzles have never been solved, like some of the jumbling twisty puzzles. But when you look at my commercial puzzles, I think that from the twisty puzzles, the geared mix-up is very hard, but few people have solved that. And from the other puzzles, from the mechanical puzzles, Hanayama chain puzzle is very hard. And Hanayama chain, you have a chain of 3 links. So 1, 2, 3.
Mm-hmm.
They are all locked together in a chain. And when you solve it, you first have to change the order of some of the links. And only when you have changed the order of the links, you can take it apart. Wow. And that's a mechanism that I'm quite proud of. It took me a long time and many prototypes to get it right.
So it's important to say that Oskar has a Guinness record to be the first person to design the large cube, the 17 by 17 by 17.
Yes.
How many pieces the cube has?
Well, I knew that you would ask this question, so I brought it here. So let's start counting. No, just kidding. It is 1,539. And that's including some of the hidden pieces, and the centers and caps, they are separate. So it's, a lot.
Are you going to create a large cube, about 20 by 20 by 20?
Well, at this moment, I do not have an incentive to do so because it's still the world record. So somebody else can take the world record from me if they want. Maybe that will stimulate me. But now I know how to make this design. So I think that you have seen my video, a look at the inside. And these pieces, they look very small from the top. But they are actually this long. And it's like, like teeth that have a small top. And they go all the way inside of the puzzle. And, well, my puzzle or my challenge was to find a mechanism that would work for a 17 by 17. So I tried some of the classic Verdes mechanisms and some variations to that. I tried a binary design where you have a 3 by 3 constructing a 5 by 5, constructing a 9 by 9, constructing 17 by 17. And none of these worked. And ultimately, I came up with this design. I call it the floating anchors because the pieces are kept upright by the long stem. And that worked, so I'm happy. Well, you saw the video, it actually turns. It's not good for speed cubing, but it turns acceptably well.
So the most popular video in your YouTube channel is you showing the mechanisms of the 17 by 17 by 17.
Yes.
Now, if anybody like to see the video, can do it. Click here to watch the video. And today you use the 3D printers, but how did you all your puzzle before the 3D printer existed? Handmade?
Yes. Before the 3D printer existed, I used all kinds of materials like wood and metal and plastic. And my nicest handmade designs where I used a plastic sheet metal. It's 3 millimeter thick. It's called styrene, and you can cut it very easily with a hand jigsaw, and you can cut it very accurately. By hand, you can cut it with an accuracy of 100 micrometer if you have good eyes. And of course, at least I used to have good enough eyes to do very accurate cutting.
Good. Do you know how to solve the Rubik's Cube?
Yes and no. I bought my first Rubik's Cube in 1980 when it was a big hype. And then it took me about 2 weeks to figure out an algorithm to solve it. Of course, the algorithm was very inefficient and it took a lot of work because, well, it was a very primitive algorithm. And of course, 1980 being 35 years ago, I have completely forgotten about that algorithm. So now I use the screwdriver algorithm. That is, you take the top face, you turn it by 45 degrees, you take your screwdriver, you pop out the edge piece, and then everything falls apart. And at this moment, it's my fastest solution.
That's the best solution.
Well, yeah, actually, I use it for all my twisty puzzles. So all the twisty puzzles that you see on my video channel, they're actually put together, and then stickered afterwards, but not solved.
And what's your opinion about the Rubik's Cube in the history of the puzzles?
I think it's a very important one. I think it's as important as the famous 1415 puzzle that was published at the end of the 19th century. And well, the Rubik's Cube suddenly showed the whole world that there are mechanical puzzles. And it created a whole craze of people liking to play these. So there was a lot of spin-off. There was also a bad thing because the Rubik's Cube was so popular and it was such a hype that for 15 years, so when you are looking at 1985 till the year 2000, there were hardly any new puzzles on the market. And puzzle companies like Pentangle, they barely survived. And it was only in the 1990s that companies like Think Fun and Bits and Pieces and Hanayama, they really bloomed and they brought back puzzling. And now puzzles have become mainstream. But the Rubik's Cube is, the grandfather of all twisty puzzles.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So yes, it's very important.
Yeah. How many of your puzzles can you solve today?
For the twisty puzzles, I can solve, for instance, the Pyraminx Duo. That is the easiest non-trivial twisty puzzle, and of course I can solve it. And the Mosaic Cube, that's one of my puzzles I can solve as well. But any of the other twisty puzzles I cannot solve. Of course, when you're looking at the other puzzles, so I've done a lot of mechanical mazes, wooden puzzles, Hanayama puzzles for metal. And I can solve most of these because, well, I designed them starting from the solution. But I have to be honest, for instance, I just mentioned to you the chain cube, you know, the one with the 3 metal pieces in a chain. And that one, I do not know anymore how to solve it. So I know the concept, like switching, but I have forgotten the moves. So when I need to solve that, I have to start all over again.
That's very important. That one thing that you said. You said the design start from the solution.
Yes.
But for example, with the Rubik's Cube, when Erno Rubik designed the cube, he didn't know how to solve the cube.
Yes. So yeah, this is what makes twisty puzzles different from others. Actually, the category of twisty puzzles, it's also called combinatorial puzzles because you have also flat twisty puzzles and sliding piece puzzles. And many of those puzzles, you can know that there is a solution because, well, you can scramble it. And since you can always conceptually unscramble it, you know that there is a solution, but that doesn't mean that you can do it. So that's a quite interesting property of twisty puzzles.
Yeah. And why do you film most of your videos outside?
Yeah, many people ask me that, and when you look at my first videos, they were filmed inside, and actually the lighting of those videos is very poor. You cannot really see the puzzle well. You see very hard shadows in my face. So I'm not really sure how I came up with the idea, but outside there is much better light. So, well, when you see, look at my outside, like here, it's now too dark to make the video. But when the sun has just set, or when you have a bit of cloud, but not too much cloud, then you have ideal light, because the lights come from all sides, and what you're showing is equally lit. And that is the best for showing the puzzles and showing the inside.
Basically, the reason is the light.
The light.
So the last question for me is one of the most important for you. Why your 17 by 17 by 17 cube only has color in the center pieces and not in the edge and in the corner?
Yeah, that's a good question. And the reason for that, well, you see indeed only color in the center, but not in the corners and the edge. And the reason was I didn't want to use stickers on the puzzle. So, you know, this is many stickers, 1, 2, 3. Well, you can do the math. It's a lot of stickers. So I thought, let's save myself time and not use stickers. Also, this is nylon, so stickers are very hard to put on the puzzle. So I thought, well, let's do colors. But the problem is, when you look at the corner or the edge, it's one solid piece, so you can give it only one color. So what I did was I colored it completely black, and I colored the insides, well, with 6 different colors. But actually, I thought that I would save myself time, but I was wrong, because I had to sort all the pieces first to get them dyed. So I needed to make sure that I didn't dye too many red pieces or too few blue ones, and they are all different. So I spent the whole day of sorting all the pieces. Then I had to dye them. And then I spent another full day of sorting all the pieces. So afterward, I have been silly, and I should have used stickers. So every next 17 by 17 has used stickers.
Good. And so this is the end of the interview. And can you say something? Can you ask some question for the Spanish cubers or for the cubers around the world who is watching this video?
Yes, well, as you have noticed, all my videos end with a question starting from 2011. And my question to your viewers is actually a meta question. Why do I always ask a question at the end of the video? And then I say, thank you for watching.
That's a good question. I wait the comments behind the video.
Yeah, I'm curious whether people can solve it, because there is a sound reasoning behind it and a nice story as well. But of course, I won't spill the secret.
So, Oskar, it has been a pleasure to talk with you. Thank you very much for to give me a little of your time.
Yeah, Rafael, it has been a nice interview, so enjoy, and well, thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching.
Bye.
Bye.